Hi guys, in this video I'm finally sharing with you my eyeshadow palettes that I tried in the year 2021, and I have ranked them as best I can. This was a very difficult task, but I have ranked 24 palettes that I tried in 2021. So if you are interested in knowing which palettes were my top ones that I tried in 2021, just keep watching. If you are new to my channel, welcome. My name is Ange and I like to share all things beauty and lifestyle aimed at the more mature woman as I navigate my more mature years. If that sounds like something that would interest you, please consider subscribing by clicking on the subscribe button down below. And if you want to be notified each time I do upload a video, don't forget to click on the notification bell so that YouTube does let you know. I do aim to upload videos on a weekly basis and I would love to see you back. Ranking all the eyeshadow palettes that I tried in 2021 was by no means easy. It was very difficult and took me some time, which is why it's taken me a wee while to share this ranking with you. Before we get started though, I do want to share one palette that is not included in here as an eyeshadow palette, but if I was able to rank this in with my eyeshadow palettes, this would definitely be up probably as my number one palette, but I didn't class it as an eyeshadow palette because it is more of an all-in-one face palette, and that is the Natasha Denona Glam Face Palette in Light. I do have it in Light and Deep, but if I was adding this to this collection, this light palette would be my number one pick for the year. Okay, so let's get started. 24 palettes, it's a lot. I was surprised at how I ranked some of these in the end when I finished up, and I will explain why they are where they are as I get to them. Okay, now this would be the 25th palette for 2021, but I never got to use it. So I am just letting you know that the Sydney Grace palette, Enduring Love, it was sent to me by a beautiful person who I truly appreciate. I haven't had the chance to use this palette yet, so it's not in the rankings. So it will be in my rankings for 2022. I am going to be doing a video very soon using this palette. I'm hoping I've got time to do more than one look with this, but it will depend on time, but a tutorial on this palette is coming soon. Number 25 is by Too Faced. Now I was surprised with this palette, as the previous year one of my favorite palettes that came in this format by Too Faced was the Hot Buttered Rum palette. Absolutely love it, one of my favorite palettes. So I purchased the Forbidden Fruit Cake palette and it was not a fave for me. I didn't find the quality as great as I found the Hot Buttered Rum. These are shades that are in nearly every palette that I have. The duochrome that's in here is a shade that if anyone's going to do a duochrome colour, this is the one they pick. So although I did create a really nice look with this palette, it's not one I'm probably going to reach for, and I am going to actually pass that on to my daughter because I know I won't reach for it when I've got so many other beautiful palettes to play with. So that was the Too Faced Forbidden Fruitcake palette. In space number 24, this is a palette I have recently reviewed, and the quality of this palette is outstanding. The shades in the palette are actually really gorgeous, but they're not shades that I tend to gravitate to. This was definitely a purchase based on opportunity and wanting to review it on my YouTube channel rather than one that I would reach for on a daily basis, and that is the Huda Beauty Rose Quartz palette. Now, the shades in here are beautiful, the quality is amazing. I'm wanting to play with this a little bit more, and I do want to wear it. It's not that I don't love it, I just don't know if I'm going to reach for it as much as I will some other palettes that I have. But if I'm wanting a pink look, this is the palette I will reach for. So that is number 24, Rose Quartz. Number 23. Now, I really, really like this palette. The only reason it's down to number 23 is, once again, will I reach for it as often as some others? For an evening out, I'm definitely going to reach for this because the quality, again, of these shadows is amazing. The shimmers are incredible. And that is, again, by Huda Beauty. And this is the Wild Obsessions palette. And it is the Jaguar palette. Really love this palette. The shimmers in here are incredible. The mattes are incredible. If I'm wanting an olive look, this is the palette I will reach for. But on a day-to-day, everyday basis, it is not going to be the palette that I reach for. It is a very smoky eye look that you are going to get with this palette. It has got a specific use from my point of view, and I do really like it, but it is ranked 23 for the year. Palette number 22, I am shocked. I thought this would be ranked higher, and when I first got it, I thought it was going to become one of my favorites. But it has been outsourced or outranked by many other palettes that came out. I do still like it. It is a great everyday palette, and it is the Wayne Goss The Luxury Eye Palette in Pearl. Now, these are beautiful shades that are everyday beautiful, great for everyday for work, and I probably will reach for this a lot for that purpose. There were just some other palettes that were more interesting, and I've got a couple of other palettes that are ranked higher that, if I'm wanting this sort of look, are what I would reach for. Still think I will use it, and it will be interesting. I'm going to revisit this video at the end of the year to see how often I do actually reach for this due to my ranking. So I'm going to keep that in mind. Number 21. Now, this palette, if I want to play with colour and I want to have fun playing with makeup, this is the palette I would reach for. And it was a palette I was quite shocked I purchased in the first place. And it is the ABH Norvina Collection Volume 5, I think it was. Yes, it was. The Pro Pigment Palette Volume 5. Purples are not really like these shades are not really me, but some of these aubergine colours and the warm looks that I can get from this are stunning, and I do love this palette for some of the looks that I can really play with this palette. But as I said, I'm a boring bit of a girl, and that's why some of these other palettes have ranked higher. As I said, I'm going to take note of all the shadow palettes that I wear this year, just to see how often I wear them, and I'm going to compare my ranking at the end of the year to see if I got it how I thought it would be. Palette number 20. Now, this wasn't a new release for 2021, but it was new to me, and it is one of the Pat McGrath Mothership palettes, and this is Sublime Volume 1. Now, the only reason this is ranked, I mean, I love the quality in here, I love the blue in here, but it's not a colour I'm going to reach for on a regular basis. If I want a cool toned palette, this is up there, but I would probably reach for Natasha Denona's Glam palette. But for mattes in the cool tones, this is a superb palette. So this is ranked number 20. Ranked number 19 is a palette that I haven't done a review on, but this was sent to me by a lovely person, and it's the same person that sent me the Sydney Grace palette, and this is the Colourpop Wild Nothing palette. Now, these were gorgeous in spring. If I'm wanting a light spring warm colour, I absolutely adore this green shade. Absolutely loved it, and it was just stunning for something different in the springtime. Beautiful palette, absolutely enjoy this, and this was ranked number 19. If you're wanting a look with that palette, let me know, because I didn't film a review of that or a tutorial with it, but if you are interested, just let me know down in the comments below and I'll be happy to film a video for you. Number 18, I'm surprised this is back as far as it is, because I really did enjoy it, but I don't think you can get this palette anymore. I think they redid it and did a smaller version, and it is the Tartelette Juicy palette, and I'm pretty sure that the palette you can get now called the Juicy palette is not as big as this and doesn't have as many shades, but this is beautiful if you do want a pinky romantic look for your eyes. It'd be great for Valentine's Day. It has your more neutral brown shades. It smells like drinking chocolate. It's really pretty, and there's just so many other neat palettes that I've got. Why it ranks number 18. It really does deserve to be up higher, but as I said, this was a really difficult ranking to do, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it pairs out at the end of the year, because I am not planning on purchasing a lot of new makeup over the next 6 months. I'm going to be revisiting more of my existing palettes, and so I'm really going to be definitely keeping an eye on where these sit after a year of using them compared to my rankings of where I thought they would be. Okay, number 17, and this is the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter in Diva Lights. This is, so these are the shades here. They are all sort of a shimmery shade except for the black, and I love my Charlotte Tilbury quads. Beautiful quad, 3 shimmers. I would say the black is not a shimmer but more of a satin, and I actually have been reaching more for other Charlotte Tilbury quads over this one. I do really still like it. It's a shame. At number 16 we have this beautiful quad by Chanel, the number 382 palette, and this is just gorgeous for warm, beautiful sunset shades. They are just beautiful, beautiful shades if you're wanting a warm sunset eye look. And the quality of those are incredible, and when I'm wanting a warm look, that is a palette that I am reaching for. Number 15 is probably one of the most affordable palettes that I purchased during the year, and that is by Morphe, and that is this Madison Beer Channel Surfing Artistry palette. I was not going to purchase this palette, it was just to bolster my free shipping, but the shades in here are beautiful. They blend beautifully for an affordable palette. I just think this is stunning. You've got some pinky shades in here, you've got your warm brown shades, you've got a black, you've got a bone colour, you've got shimmers. I actually saw this palette on sale for Black Friday, and I brought several of them and gifted them to people for Christmas gifts because I think it's such a beautiful palette. My daughter got one and she loves it. So number 14, I really struggled where to put this. I wanted it up higher, but there are just some other palettes that I am going to reach for before picking this one up. But it is a brilliant little palette, and it is the Charlotte Tilbury Instant Eye Palette, Smoky Eyes Are Forever. I love the variation in shades in here. It's not all pink, it's not all neutrals. You've got greens, you've got pinks, you've got black, you've got your neutrals. Really love this palette, and I have enjoyed using it. But I've just got some other palettes that are just a little bit better than this coming up. So number 14 is the Instant Eye Palette, Smoky Eyes Are Forever. Number 13. This is only probably ranking where it is at the moment because I haven't had a chance to play with it as much. I've got another video coming with this with some extra looks using this palette because the opportunities in here are endless, I believe, with the shades. And this is Celestial Odyssey palette, and I have only used this a couple of times, but I am so looking forward to delving in and playing with the color in here. There are only 3 mattes in here, but it is a great palette to pick up if you're wanting to add some shimmer color to your eye look. I'm really happy that I picked this up, but it's ranking 13 because I haven't had a chance to play with it as much as I would like to. It will be interesting to see where I think it falls at the end of this year. Palette number 12. It's getting tough now with these palettes. This palette I love, and I've only created 1 look with this, and I have got a video coming, 3 looks 1 palette, and I've only filmed 1 look, but I have played with it more and want to film another 2 looks for you. So you're going to get a video coming very soon where I've actually got here my natural hair, and there'll be 2 other looks coming, but this is the Pat McGrath Mothership number 8 palette. I wasn't going to get this palette, so it's the Divine Rose 2, and I love the Divine Rose 1. I absolutely adore the Divine Rose 1. Is probably my favorite Pat McGrath palette because it is wearable everyday shades. I can pick it up, and it's most of my Mothership palettes are like that. I can get neutral shade, neutral looks out of it. But the number 7 Divine Rose 1 is a palette that I just feel is everyday, friendly, got some stunning formulas in there, and I do reach for that a lot. But this is just so much fun, and I have really enjoyed playing with this palette, and I look forward to filming another 2 looks for you to bring you that 3 looks 1 palette video. But this at this stage is ranked number 12. Number 11 is the Wayne Goss, the Luxury Eye Palette, and this is his latest palette in tourmaline. This palette definitely pipped Pearl for me. I loved Pearl when I got it because it's a very neutral everyday palette. This just gives me more depth, and I just love the tones in this palette. And I do have to say, between this palette number 11 down to number 1 was really difficult to rank these palettes. But I absolutely love the tourmaline palette, and out of the 2 that I have, this is by far my favorite. I love the depth, I love the colors, love the blendability, the formulations. They are soft. They're not like Natasha Denona or Pat McGrath shades where you go in and it's pigmented right from the get-go. These are very nice to build up. I think they're user friendly for beginner friendly makeup people. The pans are huge. If you don't want to own a lot of makeup but you want it to last, this is a great palette. I don't think your eyeshadows need to be this large. I never get through my small little pans of eyeshadow, so I think these are very, very large. But I do love this palette very, very much. So that is number 11. Palette number 10 was a pricey palette, but I think it is packaged as beautifully as Pat McGrath. I think the formulation in here is beautiful. You get 2 more shades than you would get in a Pat McGrath palette, and that is the Vanity Makeup, the Signature palette. Now you get 6 mattes and 6 shimmers. These are beautiful neutral shades. You can really va-va-voom them up. You can have them very neutral and pared down for during the day. And love this palette. I am so pleased I did get this, because I think this is an absolute staple in my makeup collection for a neutral palette, giving me that mix of mattes and shimmers. Palette number 9 is a quad from Pat McGrath, and I just love the shades in this, and this is the Venus and Fleurs Luxe Quad. I just absolutely adore these 3 shades. If I'm wanting to play with something a little bit more fun and special, we have this very metallic foiled shade here, but on an everyday basis I would wear the other shades. I just love these warm burgundy-ish mahogany shades, and that just fits the bill completely with this little palette. So that is number 9. I do have a very similar palette, and I love this to bits, and it's so easy to pick up and do an eye look, and it just look put together amazing and sophisticated. And it is a Charlotte Tilbury quad. It's the Celestial Pearls Luxury Palette of Pearls, and she's just beautiful. I love the shades in this palette. They, doesn't matter how you wear them as a one and done, mixed together, you always end up with a beautiful, polished, beautiful eye look. And I love the packaging that she came out with for Christmas for that, or for the holiday season. Camera died and I had to recharge my battery. So we are back at number 7. And number 7 is a brand that I absolutely love the eyeshadows. The formulation is amazing. The blendability, they're not cheap though. They are not cheap. There's only 5 shadows in a palette, and these are around $100 New Zealand. And this is the Dior 5 Colours Couture, and this is in the colour 559 Poncho. Just beautiful neutral shades. That is going to be the theme going forward to my top palettes, is my neutral palettes. I like playing with colour, I like playing with makeup, but my everyday, if I'm going to grab for an eyeshadow palette, it's going to be in neutral shades. I love the Dior formula. I would love to have all of them, but that's just not feasible, so I have a few of them. And number 6 is a cool toned palette in the same brand, and that is Soft Cashmere. And these are just more cooler tone shades, but they are just beautiful on eye, beautiful to blend, and I just love them, and the Poncho is more of a warm neutral. Number 5 is a palette that is neutrals but definitely more on the warm side, and that is the Patrick Tar. Isn't that looking terrible? And that is the Patrick Tar eyeshadow palette. Once again, beautiful neutral shades. You have 2 cream shades here that are covered by plastic. I haven't used them much. I used them for a base a couple of times, but they're not the shadows that I tend to reach for. You have matte shades all along the top here, and then beautiful shimmer shades along the bottom, but a beautiful palette in beautiful shades, and I really enjoy that. Number 4 is a palette that I absolutely love. Now, I did mention one earlier on. Anyway, in number 4, it's a Charlotte Tilbury quad, and I love this quad. It's Star Aura. It's very similar to Celestial Pearl. So similar that you don't need both, but if I did have to choose which one I reach for first, it is the Star Aura. In number 3, I was not expecting this, but I have absolutely loved every eye look I've made with this palette, and it is Natasha Denona's Retro palette. I seriously didn't expect it to be up so high in my favourites because of the fact that it's got more of those purple tones in there, but I have to say you can still get a neutral look from it, but with pops of these shades in there. Once again, I love this size of Natasha Denona palette. It's $65 for these midi size palettes. I think that is a good price for the quality of shadows and the amount of shadows that you get in these sizes. And I'm really shocked that that made it to number 3 in my ranking. Number 2. This was hard between number 1 and number 2. The first palette I bought of these, I passed on. I didn't like it. And it's the little palette from Charlotte Tilbury, and this is the Super Nudes. Now, I did have the Darling palette, which was quite pinky in tones, and I just didn't use it, so I passed it on. But the shades in this palette are gorgeous. They are absolutely stunning, and I love these for a neutral look, for an everyday look. You can smoke it up for evening, but these shades are just incredible, and I really struggled to pick between this and what I did ultimately pick as my number 1. These are all matte shades. The black has a little bit of shimmer, but that doesn't translate on your eyes. But number 1 was my Makeup by Mario Master Mattes. I really love this palette. Very hard, I found, to pick between the 2 of these, but this, again, if I wanted a neutral palette that blends beautifully, that can build up, that you don't go in with a huge pigment straight off, you have time to build it up, this palette is gorgeous for your neutral shades. So that's my rankings of my eyeshadow palettes for 2021. I know it's not going to be everyone's order of what they like. I really just wanted to pick what I was going to reach for over others, and that's how I came up with my rankings. I hope you enjoyed that, guys. That was all the eyeshadow palettes I tried in 2021, and it's small in comparison to other YouTubers, but it actually is a lot in everyday makeup world. I do hope you enjoyed that. Please give the video a thumbs up if you did. I would truly appreciate it. Don't forget, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing by clicking on the subscribe button down below. I'd love to see you back, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. I hope you've all had a beautiful and a wonderful day, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. See you later, guys. Bye.